Hello.
Hello, Alan. How are
Happy
you?
Friday afternoon. I'm
Yeah.
all right. I'm all right. As you can see, I am not in my normal super cool studio that I have hand built tirelessly in my house. I'm at a second location today. I am at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. This is my lovely room that they have given me while I stay here.
Is it like an isolated room where you can scream and celebrate as we move on with our stream?
Uh, I don't know. I don't know. It's like a
We'll
hotel.
see.
This building is like a hotel that's owned by the hospital. So I do have neighbors on that side. This
Okay.
side is, I think, the path that the uh, housekeeping takes to go in and out without being seen.
Okay. Okay. I am in my usual El Paso location, undisclosed specific location, but
I guess I did give a little bit too precise of where I am right
they're
now.
gonna you're gonna have the paparazzi out there, you know.
Yeah. Gosh, I hope not. Anyway, so happy Friday to us all. Happy Friday afternoon. Happy Friday evening for those of you in Europe. And happy Friday morning to those of you watching us in Hawaii
Ooh, nice.
or
Probably from the
Alaska.
beach or the mountains.
Yes. Yes. So you and I, Andres, are here today to continue slash wrap up our AI code assistant live stream series. And I don't even know
Unless
how we got
something
started in
unless
this.
something else gets released. But yeah, it's kind of been a chain where apps we started with the App Studio and it's like we should try this one, right? The artifacts got Cloud Artifacts got released, so hey, let's try this one too. And
Yes.
then Michael Liendo asked during last stream, it's like, why are you not using Amazon Q? It's like, well, because we're specifically using Claude, but gave us the idea for this stream today
Yeah.
to try Amazon Q to build enterprise application. See if it can help
At this point,
us.
I kind of just want to see it build an application. That's
Yep, I'm there too.
we made that claim when we were testing App Studio, Amazon App Studio, that we were looking for enterprise grade applications, and quickly found out that that was not the case, which is fine. Which is fine. Honestly, I was more happy with the fact that I discovered it was a low code service than I was
Yeah.
that it was a Gen AI app build.
Yep.
Cool. But today, yes, today we are going to be testing Amazon Q. Specifically, we're going to be testing the VS Code integration to build and work with things a little bit closer to where the developer works, which, in my opinion, was what we were missing with Anthropic Artifacts. It
Yep.
actually did a really, really good job. It was fast. It had a good plan when we were building our GPS app in the browser, but it didn't translate super great to actually maintaining that code and using it for anything more than a bootstrap.
Yep. I agree with that. Yeah, and just consolidating the files and all that wasn't easy. I did realize after the stream when we asked it, hey, can you give me a zip? That it actually explained everything and how you needed to extract it and in which folders for it to just work. So it goes to show yet again how little Alan and I read text.
Very little, very little. It's not, yeah,
I sent you the
error
screenshot
messages,
later.
text, anything.
You've seen it all, but I sent you the screenshot later in the day. It's like, hey, this
That's
would have
right.
been
Yes.
helpful if we actually read it.
Yeah, we can't ding it for that anymore. It did actually do what we thought it wasn't doing.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into what we're building. Let me move some stuff around and bring up.
Do you want some
Okay.
background beats?
Yeah, sure. Bring that rock music up that I had when you joined. That was
What was
probably
the
my
name?
rock. It was called
Oh,
Rock.
really? It's there.
Yep.
It sounds like oh man, blanking out on the band. You can go with the flow. I'll get it.
I don't know that one. Okay, here we go. And onto the
Queens
screen.
of the Stone Age. I got it. Queens of the Stone
Queens
Age.
of the Stone Age. Okay, I'll take your word for that one. I haven't heard of that. So GPS app assessment. This is the app that we build every time. I want to say that I am more creative than this and building the same thing over and over again, but that is actually besides the point. What we're doing is we're building the same thing over and over so we can get an objective comparison between all of these frameworks, all of these things that we're testing. Jonathan asked us an important question that I have to pause.
Yeah, I'll answer. I was going to answer in text, but I'll respond live. I'm very, very excited they're getting back together. I'm super, super sad I wasn't able to get tickets, even though I stayed on a queue till 4 a.m.
Aw.
No tickets for me. I want to go see them in Manchester. So if anybody wants to offer a ticket, I'll buy it. If you have two, even better, so I can take my wife. But I'm first.
Oh, I was about to say, Doug, and give her the first one. Jonathan with firing back an Amazon queue.
Oh yeah.
It's funny.
No, and that's SQ. No.
Okay. So what we're building today, we've built several times before, Andres. This is an app that intakes GPS data, and then it does some things asynchronously, like calculates the average velocity, how far I think it's traveled given a certain time frame, and then updates user interface real time using WebSockets or some other real-time notification mechanism. And we do this because it's a lot more than a CRUD API. We can build CRUD APIs all day, every day, and that doesn't really get us a whole lot because that's never it. That's never just what we build today. So this also is an opportunity to build something that has an event-driven architecture. It has an API, it has real-time notifications, and it has things that are a little more complex than just a single record inside of a NoSQL database. So that's what we're going to be building, and I figure we should just do what we do with all of these smart assistants and really just paste in the requirements. This has a whole list of things, and I want to see what it does with that.
And just,
do you have any reason why we would do anything different?
No, I mean it's what we've done with the other two. Just to clarify, so Amazon Q, it's I think a consolidation of different things, right? So you got Amazon Q Enterprise, then you got Amazon Q Developer, then you got, right? There's many things.
Yeah.
But here it's the plugin that connects to Amazon Q, and you can ask it questions or any stuff like that. But I think recently Amazon Q Developer got released, a few months ago, in replacement and part of CodeWhisperer and more, right? And this can create files and do all that fun stuff. So yeah, what we want to do. So
yes, and I just updated it today before the stream because they just released a new release yesterday.
Ooh, so
this was better. Yes, this is the page for the plugin for Amazon Q inside of VS Code. And specifically what we're going to be working with today is the agent for software development. This is the functionality we're going to be testing to say, hey, I want you to build this, and it goes and builds that. So we'll see A, how good it does, B, how good it does on iterations, and C, how likely am I to take what it has and maintain it long term. So, and then C, part one would be, can I use Amazon Q to then add on things in addition to my initial build? And I think, Andres, where we went wrong with Claude Artifacts was we tried to throw everything at it at once instead of going at an iterative approach, and it made things a little bit more complicated than it needed to be, at least for the initial deployment. So I figured today we can do everything, at least start with everything minus the WebSockets.
That's what it threw. Yeah, it really, and I've blanked out on the word, hallucinated on the WebSockets. It gave bad resources for our SAM template and a bunch of stuff that we had to change. But let's give it a try with just the API without WebSockets, and I hope we should be fine.
I think it'll be okay.
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Of course.
Thank you.
You can read that okay? Yeah, it looks like you can.
Yeah.
Okay. So to go into like big mode, actual like development mode, it has a command /dev. You can see here in the IntelliSense, plan and implement new functionality across multiple files in your workspace. So that's what we're going to be using here inside of Q. And then I want to build an app. Here's my list of requirements. And I just copied the requirements.
Think you can assume bullet points?
Yeah. So we'll see. And I remember this is a very similar experience that we had inside of App Studio as well. Now we gave it a list of requirements, and then it said basically this. Let me create a plan.
And Claude did the same thing, right? It gave us the whole plan, and then we told, okay, let's start with the back end. Let's build this, and that, and then okay, let's go with the front end, because it kind of pieced the whole architecture plan, which is pretty nice.
I might have actually gone over the character
limit.
count. It said 4,000. Let's look while it's thinking. Okay, that's fine. You know, I didn't specify any
language.
and yeah, I didn't specify any implementation details, so it defaulted to Python, which is interesting. Do you want to generate a suggestion for this? You'll review. Yes, I do want to do a suggestion. I'll say, can you build this in JavaScript? I guess we'll say, we'd be more specific, Node 20.
What is that? So you have 9 out of 10 plan iterations remaining, right? That, I'm assuming it took one off. You can create 10 plans for free.
I don't know. That's a good question. I did not read that, so I'm glad you have taken it upon yourself to improve.
I'm trying to improve and actually read stuff.
Yeah. Okay. It does say here, to handle the current demand, Q will use a smaller, higher speed model. So that's actually irrelevant to this.
And I'll dig into the pricing here on the side, see if there's anything that specified that.
Let's see. So the last thing that we did, we used Node, and then we also said use a SAM template and build the infrastructure using SAM. I don't think we had anything else, but I think that'll be enough. I'm happy with this.
Use serverless. It's what we probably specified.
Oh yeah.
Serverless.
Okay. Prioritize. We did say AWS serverless, but I'm pretty sure that Q will have an assumption that
it prefers AWS, you think?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Prioritize serverless services for this build. And before I even go down and do that, yeah, it doesn't have specifics. It does have what endpoints. Okay, it used Fast API, SQL Alchemy, and then these libraries. Interesting. Okay.
Should get some drums. Sure, my wife would love that.
You know what? I was actually over in one of the many play areas they have here at St. Jude's earlier today, and I was in the music room. And they have just tons of stuff. They have a full recording studio, which I might try to see if I can get in there and record like a podcast or something, because it's like a full like production studio, which is super cool. But they also have like electric drums that are real quiet if you're around them, but you have the headphones on there. It has drums, has pianos, everything that's like super loud and really good for music.
So you just hear the click clack.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, which is good because we're in a hospital.
Like playing Rock Band.
Yeah. Okay, so it did. One of the points that we forgot was to say use the v3 of the SDK, which is probably fine. But it has a couple different things in here. So it's using SAM template.
Define the resources. You got API gateway, these Lambda functions, DynamoDB table for sessions, S3 bucket for static website hosting, CloudFront for distribution for S3, API gateway URL, and CloudFront distribution URL. Nice. And then explaining each. Look at us actually reading, Alan. I'm proud. I'm very proud of us.
Yeah. Well, this is like this is a point of no return really, because right now we're in the plan iteration phase, and once we hit go, once we hit this generate code button down here,
I
we're
missed that button.
in a point that makes everything a lot more difficult. So this is like the most important time
Yeah.
to read.
Client, the function, validate session exists, create new data point, check if it's the 10th one. You saw that. Import AWS
Yeah.
SDK. It's saying import. You think? Well, yeah. We don't. We also specified to use ESM at some point in the.
Yeah.
But I'm fine if it's not.
Okay, I want to
We have
do
8 out of 10. Well, we did it in 4 or 5 prompts last week.
Yeah. Okay, let me do one. Let me do one more. Use the AWS SDK v3, and then just
For JavaScript.
just
Just
for-
specify for JavaScript.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. I don't think it's v3 for anything else but JavaScript.
Oh, really?
So there's that, and then just for my kicks, I want to see if it knows about the Momento clients and the services that they have there, because I think that would really simplify the WebSocket portion of this, because it is making plans for that.
Okay. Yeah, I see.
I don't think it. I mean, it'd have to be a pretty recent model, but Claude and GPT and OpenAI both know about Momento SDKs at this point. Been asking them about it; they know.
Nice.
If you can, use the Go Momento /SDK library for WebSockets using Momento topics. And it's probably going to hallucinate because anything you ask, it's going to try to satisfy.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
It's going to use Moment.js or something like that.
Okay. While we wait for that, Jonathan asked, do I play instruments? Kind of. I can play like a handful of songs on a handful of instruments. I'm not one of those savants that can hear a song and then play it. I do need a little bit of time. But
Can you play Wonderwall on the guitar?
I can on Rock Band. Does that count?
No.
No, then no, I can't play one. I can play it on the piano though. I can play it on the piano.
I'll take that.
Okay. Drums has been my thing lately though. I like hitting stuff for the past few months. Okay.
Yeah, I like drums. My parents, I understand now, never wanted to buy me drums. So I just never got into drums because I didn't have a place to play them.
Yeah. My parents bought my brother a real drum set, back when he was a teenager.
They regretted.
Gosh, that was. Yes, I think that was they bought him that drum set like the Christmas before I moved out and went to college, and I was so happy that I was in college when he started playing that for real.
I'm glad I'm not alone, Jonathan. We share the pain, the sadness of maybe could have been like rock stars and famous and stuff. How does this look?
I think it looks good. I'm curious. It says that it's going to put Momento Topics config in the IAC. I don't know what it's going to do in there. Maybe store a secret or something inside of Secrets Manager because it doesn't need that. But I'm ready to see what it's going to make. So it's going to use ClientDB. It's going to use libDynamoDB, which is not.
We saw it last week too.
Did it work?
We didn't get. We got it deployed.
Okay.
Didn't complain. The package exists. Let me do some research here on what the hell that package is. SDK.
Okay. While you do that, I'm actually very happy with this planning phase. You know, we were able to get really what we want. I think last time we said use server-side rendering through Lambda for the HTML structure, but I think this is fine. I'm very happy with what it's come up with in only 3 iterations of the plan. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit generate code. Are you good with pulling the trigger on it?
Yeah, we got this. Remember it's using the lower level document client from DynamoDB.
Oh yeah.
And I remember when we worked together, you remember we had to use that for like batch operations at some point.
Yeah.
to be able to do some of that. So
Maybe
I
it's
think
better
we could
than-
easily, I would need to read up on it a little bit more, but I do think it would be an easy transition to just use the regular DynamoDB client. We'll see what
Yep.
it does. Because remember, it
One
had
of the
that
things-
DynamoDB from client thing last week.
Yes, that's right. And one of the things that I always reminded you of when we worked together and you would come to me angry at a pull request came through, just because it's not done the way you would do it means that it's wrong.
Yeah.
So we do need to remember that.
But it
Might
can't be the
done a
way
little
you
bit
do it,
differently.
Alan. It can't be the way you do it. If it's the
Why?
rest of the world, it's fine. Because it's you. You know how it is.
Yeah. Yep. I gave that up a long time ago. Okay, so right now, hopefully we're bridging the gap with what the biggest problem was with Claude artifacts, was taking basically the flat structure that it generated inside of the browser and then copying it over. Now it did say, put this here, put that here, put this here, which you had to read in order to figure out, which is apparently a big no-no for us. But this, I think, is actually going to go and make files on my file system. So we'll take a look when it's done, and we'll see that initial what you do. And I'm curious. So it's using SAM. So I'm just going to go ahead and run a SAM build pretty much right away, and see what it does.
So I read a little paragraph here. So using this lib DynamoDB does the first thing it does, it's marshal and unmarshal automatically for you, instead of having to provide the marshal like S
That does sound better.
colon string
Yeah.
and passing a number as a string. You know, we always mess that one up. When you
Speak
do
for
and then
yourself,
that
sir.
and has to and has to be a string. It's like, what? But it's a number. Yeah, it's different. So interesting.
Yeah,
And
that was
both
one of the things. Go ahead.
two of the AIs have done it that way, which leads me to assume is the right way, maybe.
You're gonna start a flame war in the
I know.
comments.
I read
Okay,
the documentation. It's fine.
All right, so it
Oh,
made
now you
5
get-
files.
Scroll to the bottom, you get 3 iterations on the code. Interesting. That's for free.
Yeah, I don't have any like secret AWS hero access to this. This is just a normal anyone
Come
can,
on, Alan.
can get at. Huh?
Come on.
Even if I had that, I wouldn't be using that in our assessment.
Yeah, that would, yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay, so this is
Can we click the files here, or yeah? I'm assuming you can view them.
probably.
I hope,
Let's look overall. Okay.
because you haven't applied it, right? So we can't see it yet. But if you go back to Q, hopefully you don't lose the history.
Okay, so the
Because-
files aren't actually on the file system. They do not exist here.
Yeah, but if you go back to Q,
Yes. I was just yes.
sorry, click a file. I'm assuming it's going to show it. No,
Look at the template. Okay.
there you go. So it's, and it's giving you a diff, right? So that file doesn't exist. So it's saying empty to something.
Yep.
Look, it even opens up cores to everything. Nice. I
Wide
don't know
open
if I don't like that, but
The wide open cores.
yeah.
That's what everybody does. It's the hardest thing in programming.
Yeah. It's like principle of least privilege.
Something I actually find interesting, just that I pick off immediately that Claude did that Q didn't, is there's no use of globals in here. There's no reuse. Everything is explicitly defined in here, like the runtime. is in
Oh
here.
yeah. Yeah, I do like to use it. I mean, still Control Shift H, and you can get an easy way to change all your Node.js 22 when the time comes. WebSocket, it's a function, okay, but it does have the connect, disconnect. So I don't know what it
This-
did.
These
WebSocket's
aren't
always,
real.
yeah.
That's hallucinated.
We saw that with
this is-
Claude too, which is weird.
Yep.
I mean, not weird. It makes sense, but
This one has, okay, so that one,
it's 2 different tables.
yep.
Static website. Bucket.
Okay, it has CloudFront. To put that. Yep. Okay. Let's build this. Oh no, we can't build it. Not yet. It doesn't exist yet. Okay. So it has those things. We've identified this as a problem. And then, yeah, I'm okay with most of the rest of it. It would just require a little bit of a cleanup, but I think that's fine.
So it says, if you look at the placeholder on the text box for Amazon Q, it says select an option above to proceed. Are there many options?
Insert code?
No.
So
Go
create it.
scroll up. Are there many?
That's it.
Are there other options to select from?
These are the two options.
No, but scroll up a little bit more than that one. Okay, yeah. I thought it might have suggested multiple things. You know what I mean? But I guess select an option above is just those two buttons. So never mind.
Yes, that's multiple options. That's two.
Now I'm hallucinating. I thought it was
Okay.
giving different code options, different implementation options.
Oh. Nah.
Nah.
Let's look at this.
Initializing
Okay,
momentum.
so one of the things that we could do if we wanted to is say to use ECMA. This is using just regular JavaScript. Why on
Only if
earth
we
would
have-
it be using Lambda client? What is it doing there?
Table name DTB. Enrich weather. Maybe that's calling an async lambda function.
Let's take a look. Okay, so that's the update. So it's going. What is this?
Data if not exists. Data point 1.
Oh, I see what it's doing.
If it doesn't exist, it adds
Yeah.
a 0. Yeah, I've done that for initializing arrays.
That's snazzy.
Because if it doesn't exist, then you want to insert. You got to do something like this.
I like that. Okay. And then it's sending the update command on that data point. It's just keeping account of the number of data points that it has, and then it is returning the updated new count. So that's going to be, it's probably going to be doing something with that. Yeah.
It's there to calculate.
Then
If
it's
it's
saying
10 or
if, yeah, every 10, do something else. Yep. Cool.
Does the whole memento topic look good?
No, it's missing. I mean, it's pretty close, but it's missing the namespace here. So to publish a message to a topic, you need two strings. One is the namespace, the other one is the topic name. So this is what it has here is the topic name, then this is the payload, which it is doing correctly.
Yep. Okay, enrich weather. There's where it's calling another function. I don't like that.
No, I don't need
It's
that.
an
I would much
event. I
rather-
mean, it is async. It's an event, so there's definitely other ways to do that.
Yep, and we can give it feedback to regenerate.
3, 2 more.
Yeah. I'm gonna click this now. No, I don't want to get rid of everything that we've seen, but I do need the cute notes. Okay, so it is pulling the session ID out of the path. It is getting the latitude and longitude out of the body, and then it's adding that data point, returning back 200. Cool. Yeah, which is right. I probably wouldn't have put a 400 here.
They're adding data point. It's add data point. What does add data point do? Yeah.
Add data point, I think, was the first thing that we had. Yeah, here.
Yeah, that would be more like I would consider like a 409. Like the session doesn't exist, right? So the state of the data is not where you want it to be.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is an easy way to do things. Throw an error like this and then just say it's a 400. The only problem with this is if like this threw an error, right? Then you would be basically catching in a 500 and saying it's a client-side error. Okay, let's jump back to the template file real quick because this is using an environment variable and I don't remember specifically looking at environment variable names inside of the template. So let's look for data points table. So it did not define the environment variable in there in the spec.
Okay.
It correctly did that. Like that's how you would do it inside of the code, inside of the actual function code, but inside of the IAC, it's missed that. easy enough to debug and fix. This one I'm gonna assume is gonna feel very similar to what we were just looking at.
Just doing a put. This
Yep.
isn't just swallowing the errors. Remember with Claude, it was just console logging and then not rethrowing it.
Yeah.
So it's just, hey, look, it's a 201. Look at that.
What is it returning? Okay, cool. Returning the session ID. It's interesting to me how the LLM is being inconsistent in its shorthand. Like right here, right? Shorthand JavaScript would just have
Oh, that's true. Which you
session
just put
ID.
the one. Yeah.
Yes, because if the variable name is the same as the property you want to return it in a JSON object, you can just have the variable.
Yeah.
But it did that in here, I think. Yeah, there.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
So just like us, it's just like us, which actually is probably scarier.
Yeah. Well, it's learned from
Using-
us.
Yeah, it's using short. That's true. But yeah, it's shorthand here, not shorthand in the other one. Just inconsistent usage of that. The next one, these are all going to feel pretty much the same. So I feel like we have seen enough now. Okay, this is actually okay. Hold on. This is actually where it's using Memento. Topic subscribe is not something you can pull out of the SDK. And then you don't really need any of this because there's no WebSockets to manage. It's just using the SDK.
Yeah.
Memento. So that's grossly overcomplicated for the notification. So I don't even know what kind of advice we want to offer it for that, but let's give it some feedback. Okay, how can the code be improved?
We had the Lambda function invoke.
Huh? Okay. Use event bridge to trigger Lambda functions asynchronously. What else? Use ECMA.
ECMAScript. Do you have any feedback on the Memento, or just wing it with that one?
I'm just not even sure. Like that one might be a lost cause. Like, it seems like it knows some because this is mostly right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I will tell it use a namespace when subscribing and publishing to Memento topic client. We need to add missing environment variables
in the template.
YAML file. I like this. I feel like I'm doing a code review right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because if you had something and you're iterating something that already exists, it's going to give you the diff. So you're code reviewing a bot.
It's creepy. Was there anything else major that you saw that you wanted to change?
I can live with the inconsistency for now.
Okay. It also didn't create everything that it said it was going to create. Like it said it was going to create a HTML file and a script file for us, the front end code.
We can tell that it's messing the front end.
It did not. Yeah. Create the front end files from the dev plan. And that was
it has the CloudFront
HTML and
the S3 bucket pointing to the index HTML. It doesn't exist.
Yep. So I guess we could have it do like a custom resource to put in the index.html and script.js in that S3 bucket. I want to see what it would do for that.
Oh yeah. HTMK, that's a new one.
Yeah, it's pretty new. You wouldn't know it. Do you think that's it? That's a good amount of worry work that it has to do.
Let's do it.
Okay. So it is 2:36 Tennessee time. This feels weird. It's 2:36 Texas time.
Yes, you're still central.
Yeah. This was slower. This is the slowest of all of them that we've used. What do you agree?
Yeah, it might be. I mean, there's more calculation because it's taking something it already built, comparing, assessing, doing what's right.
Yeah, but I mean, even the initial one was slow. Even the plan was slow, honestly. In
Maybe,
comparison,
maybe
right? It's doing
there's.
a lot of work. It's faster than I could work.
It does say, at some point it said it's going to be slower, right? It's going to use slower intentionally.
Yes, it did. You're right. It did say it was going to use less capable models for this. But that doesn't necessarily, I would imagine that that's like less capable in terms of quality, not necessarily speed.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where'd the music go? Is it still playing?
It's there. Yeah.
Is it?
Let me give you some more power so you can. Do you hear it now?
Yeah, I hear it. Welcome everybody that is joining us across all of where we're streaming. We're live on X, formerly known as Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn. I think that's everywhere. Yeah.
Nice.
And if you're just joining us for the first time, Andres and I are working with Amazon Q integrated in Visual Studio Code to see how well it can create an app for us. And this is an app that we've built several times with several different frameworks. So we're seeing how it stacks up objectively, building the same thing that we've seen half a dozen times at this point. So far, if you're joining us, if you've joined us in the past few minutes, what you've missed is we've iterated on the dev plan with Amazon Q a few times, just to figure out what exactly we wanted to build and how we wanted to build it with implementation details, like using JavaScript as the programming language and SAM as infrastructure as code. And now we are going through our first iteration of the code. It generated our initial code, and now we're doing iteration 1 to say, I don't like what you did. Can you please make it do this instead? So timing to see how long it takes. I think we're at 3 minutes right now for this iteration. As long as it doesn't time out, I guess it's fine. Because honestly, the amount of stuff that we asked it to change is going to take any developer, even a 10x developer, it's going to take more than 3 minutes of time to go and change everything.
Yep.
So well worth it.
Yeah, I wonder what the timeout is on this. Hopefully it's a higher one than a regular timeout.
I agree. I hope we don't have to figure that out. I don't want it to time out.
No.
I don't want it to take however long I don't want it to take 15 minutes or whatever. I'm fine with 5. I mean, honestly, I'd be fine with 10. If it generated the type of content or the quality that we want. So I think what we should do, Andres, after this is done with its iteration, I think we should go ahead and have the files created.
Applied. Yep.
And then we go and see, does it build? Does it deploy? And how easy would it be to actually make a modification, to add a new feature to it from the stuff that it created?
Cool.
Like a real scenario, like what actually would happen. I'm curious to see what we'll have to do for that, because I would imagine after we click insert code, it's gonna lose context.
I got a message on Slack, so nothing I can put on the screen save, but it says someone at Amazon is typing in your code. So, just,
That's funny.
If you read the Lean Startup, that's how you start something to see if it's valuable.
Yeah.
Maybe not with AI. But yeah, I agree with your path forward. If we get there,
Okay. Yeah, if we can get it to generate.
yeah, there's no F12 here to track the progress or the requests that are happening, or it's not streaming. Ah, yes.
Hey, I like how the rock music went into like a
Yeah,
whole
dead
thing. Okay,
It's got
all
the static
right.
files.
Let's take a look. What do you? I guess we'll start at the temp. Oh, come on. There's nothing in there. It's only the outputs.
Now I'm worried
Okay,
for
that's-
the.
Let's down on that one.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
can thumb down. You can vote. Is it using namespace? That's something we said.
It's not using EventBridge. Still using
And it still has
Lambda.
the. Yeah. We typically see this, right? And I remember one of the first streams we did with was Postbot. And just iteration on big things is not incredible.
Mhm.
The thing where I give props to Claude is that it kept the version of the files. I don't know what you would do here. It's not
don't know.
version. Maybe you would. And it's trying to figure out the best process dev-wise to deal with these things, right? That's kind of what you and I are learning, maybe suggesting a little bit, but last week it was like, oh, maybe iterate on smaller things, right? So maybe we should have created it, right? Applied the code and then go, okay, in this specific function, Lambda function, and then in this function, within the Lambda function, change this.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're operating in the free tier. Which doesn't give us a lot of iteration power, but you can get an idea from it. It's using OpenStreet, which is kind of what we used. Doing Memento credentials, subscribing to the right route tracker. I just wonder what happened to some
this?
suggestion. Yeah, it's that. So if you look at the top, some suggestions contain code with references. I don't know what that means. Oh,
This is nice.
yeah, that's
Like,
pretty
it's
good.
all the licenses of the things. Yeah, I like
Sweet.
that. Okay, so I feel like we can't insert this code because if I ran SAM build, it wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait another that took 7 minutes, right? I feel like it arguably made no changes into this code. Like it doesn't look like it actually made any changes in here. None of it is substantially different. It's semantically the exact same. Even if something did change.
It added those two
this.
things and it messed up the template. So I can see a path for us where we apply this and then copy the template from the other one.
If we still have context of it. I don't know if inserting is going to like close this session. It probably
So
will.
let's hold on for a second and let's be careful. So go back to the other prompt, the previous one, the result. Go there, click it. You'll still see it. No?
Oh, look at that. No,
We lost it!
it's destroyed. Now I'm totally confused. That doesn't make sense to me at all.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I would
Oh,
I
man.
would tell it, hey,
Man,
can you please
unfortunate.
re-add everything in the template?
Yeah. Okay.
You broke the template.
Yeah. I don't even know if this was a pull request. I would be sending the person an IM right now, or
Could
like
you-
calling them and saying, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
What is this?"
Can we tell it to just go back to the previous version?
Yes, this is where I go to my boss and say, "Hey, I have to have this person redo everything."
Are we
How
good
can
with
this
that?
code be improved? Like, should I be rude to it? Do you think it responds to that?
It's like you broke it.
And it's also just outputting the auth.
Just talk to it as
an
if it was
output.
me. Just imagine Q as me. How would you tell me,
No.
like, dude,
We're
what the
live and there's
hell?
people watching this. I'm not gonna respond to it like that.
Can't do that.
No.
I was baiting
Okay.
you. I was baiting you.
Yeah. Caught on to that one. Okay. How can the code be improved? I guess I'm just gonna give it one simple task and just say update template.yaml to include all the resources.
As you had it
With-
before, maybe.
No, I don't think it would know that. I feel like it's lost the context. I feel like that's a bug in Q, honestly, that has updated the references up here.
Yep.
To include all the references to all the resources. Okay. With the appropriate env variables and using
Wheezing.
globals as well.
Don't get too much.
I feel like that's all. I just want to see that. Are you
Okay.
fine with that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And include the custom resource to add the front end files to the S3 bucket. Okay. Do you think this is going to take another 7 minutes for it to run?
I really hope not, because then we would just have 6 minutes to iterate anything we want.
Yeah. We're only doing an hour today? Okay.
I can go for an hour and a half if you can.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Keep going.
If we can, like, I don't
Yeah.
know, I mean, if
We
this
run
takes
out of
7
credit.
minutes, if this takes 7 minutes, I think we're kind of at that point where experienced developers could move faster.
If
all
you
we're
have a
doing is
strong
asking it-
template, right? If
Yeah.
let's say you work with Ron Eisenberg and you have his cookbook is open source, so you just use that to start, and you would be further with all the little pieces that you need with observability and the APIs and all that. It's kind of pre-built. So if you have your own template at this point, it's tougher. And it always comes back to the iteration of these. And I think that's where maybe by the end of the year, these LLMs will get better. It's just keeping a lot of context that might be struggling with. I just don't know, because we've seen this several times.
Yep. I actually ran into an issue, speaking of running out of space in the context window. I ran into an issue with Claude last week where I was working with artifacts. It wasn't code. I was working on some plan for something. I don't remember what it was. But I got in through 2 iterations and then asked it to make one more update. It was basically consolidating the thoughts we were throwing around, Claude and I. And I said, consolidate that into one final form. And I hit enter, and it said that this conversation is too long and it's outgrown the context window, and just gave up. Like, there was nothing I could do. I couldn't proceed with that conversation at all. It was really disheartening because I really wanted.
Yeah.
I then had to go and actually do real work and actually combine them myself.
Sucks. Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. Love the empathy. But yeah, that's something that I always forget about whenever I see these LLM announcements that say, yes, this new model can support 100,000 tokens. And I don't know what Jonathan's talking about. Hold on. He said he's going to start ending conversations. Oh, we ran out of tokens. Done.
I just say my social meters run out.
I saw one of those pins that you get at reInvent the other day that has the social meter on it, where it's like red, yellow, and green. Was,
I've
super
used that
useful.
one.
They need to give those out here at the hospital. Honestly, people are too cheery here. Anyway, what I was saying was, you see these announcements about LLMs that have 100,000 token context windows, and you're thinking, okay, well, that's like a small book that you could provide to this, and it would be fine. Does anybody ever need anything like that? And it's like, well, realistically, not in a one shot, not in a give me a one one prompt, I'm going to give you one answer. It's usually these conversations that go on for a really long time that are building a story, building context and materials that you need to proceed and pass in as input multiple times. That's where you run into those large context windows.
Because I mean, I can see a path. I mean, again, we're on free tiers, limited iterations. But if you do one full pass with create a CRUD API for sessions and then add endpoints to be able to add geographical points to those sessions, and then start building it up as you would like in a Scrum process, just give it stories basically. Start doing one story at a time. I don't know if that would end up with a better result, right? If I had 100 iterations that I could go through, would that work? I don't know, right? And maybe something we could test.
Happy to test that. So here's our new and improved template file. And this looks so much better because A, it has our resources. B, it has functions in it. It has environment variables in there. I probably wouldn't have done it this way because I don't think every function needs every environment variable.
And I wouldn't pass in a token as an environment variable, but
yeah,
that's just me.
Don't like that. Standard practice that we say at Memento is put it in Secrets Manager, just like any other auth token.
Right, SSM, secure strings, right? That's
yeah, or that. Yep. Nothing wrong with that. Those are free.
Yeah. Well, maybe secure strings are not, but an SSM parameter.
Are they not? I'm pretty sure they are. If you're using SSM parameters, I thought those were free.
Okay.
So it still has this. We said we weren't going to do WebSockets, and we did them anyway. So we're going to pay for it. It has the bucket. It has the bucket policy on here. It has the CloudFront distribution pointed over there.
It is an SSM parameter. Jeez. Year momentum.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
I would add it as a parameter.
Yeah.
I would have added it as a parameter to the template. Destination bucket.
I think we're going to run into a considerable amount of issues with this. I'm ready to insert this code and actually.
Well, we can't go further, so.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. Insert code. Would you like to work on another task?
Can I?
I don't know. I guess let's try. Work on task. The first session is closed. What change would you like to make? Okay. Let's look at the code first. Let's just say get rid of all the WebSocket stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do that. Let's see what it does for me.
See if we can. Yeah.
Get rid of all the WebSocket
functionality
in real-time notification functionality. I hope it doesn't take a few minutes. It didn't take a few minutes before for at least the plan.
But it said the same thing with the other one.
Yeah. Okay. So far we've tested Q for creating a plan, modifying that plan a couple of iterations, for creating the code and modifying the code. And so that's done. I would say we've tested, create an update. So now we're doing the delete. What will it do if we're asking it to rip functionality out? So let's see what it says.
I suggest the following.
Remove this. For this, remove the import to that. Remove the initialization. Remove the publish functionality. Remove that from the script. Remove. Okay. Yeah.
Remove the WebSocket handler Lambda function. The one.
This is the correct import. I didn't even catch that it was importing the web SDK.
Yeah.
That is correct.
I did. Oh yeah.
Remove the auth token environment variable. Remove that function from the IAC. Remove the SSM param. I am happy with that. What do you think?
Yeah, it seems legit.
Okay, let's generate the code. Let's see what it does. Do you think this is going to take 7 minutes?
I hope not. I don't think so.
Deleting codes. My favorite stories I've ever worked on as a dev were the ones that I had to just rip code out. Those were the absolute best ones. Just love it.
Yep.
And they never took very long either.
It's easy to delete. It's when you have to
Yeah.
find the whole chain, right? Okay, I'm deleting this piece. And I need to
Yeah.
delete it from here, the reference from here, from here, from here, blah, blah, blah. If there are not many references, you're good.
Yeah.
Can I do
Okay. So I would say the plan that it generated was correct. Like I would probably give this, if I was grading it, a 100, A++.
Yep.
Honestly, you could use this as like, well, you should never really get this detailed with story writing when you're doing your planning, but if you're giving it to like a contractor, that's
Okay, so you have 3 iterations per plan.
yep. And it still maintained
Yeah.
the context of everything, which was really nice.
Yeah, so let's see. You can see the diff there. That's the cool thing, right? So that's going away, but do the add data point file. It should show like if you're looking at Git. So that's nice.
This is really well done. I like that. If we look inside of this file, it removes the CDN
Distribution.
import. It's removing this from that script. From the template, it's removing that environment variable. It's removing that function. The SSM param. And that. So that's all good. Was that all the updates that it said it was going to do?
I think
So
so.
delete
Yeah.
that. Update this.
Script, index,
Edit
template.
that, edit that. Yeah.
Insert.
And that
It
was
feels
like
weird
maybe
to
one
say
minute?
insert code. Yeah, it was
Insert,
two,
it's
one,
insert
max 2.
changes, right?
Yeah.
Insert changes.
It's
Okay,
gone.
so now I'm actually extremely happy with that. I like A+ on the delete. You agree?
Yeah, it did everything as I would. So pretty happy with that.
And I'm really happy that we were still able to get like the full context of the entire solution. Didn't have to really do anything special for that. I know when you're doing like single prompts, you have to do at workspace and then you know, ask your question, but we didn't have to here. This is just doing tasks.
You're in this VS Code session is your context.
Yeah, love it. So do you think now we should try to make it switch from using Lambda asynchronously to using EventBridge?
I would try to SAM build. Just
Yeah, okay, yeah. Let's do that. Good idea.
yeah. Don't get too far without testing.
Yeah, fair enough. That's good words to live by right
the SAM
there.
template's not like CFN length is gonna look at
Yeah. It built?
that. No, wait, custom resource does not exist.
Okay.
Did it actually build a Lambda function? So go look at. Do we have? Yeah. So go to the file explorer.
Package JSON file not found. Continuing to build without dependencies.
That's fine.
Oh no. Okay, there we go.
Go to the .aws folder just to see if the functions are there. Build.
So it has those 3, and it has, you know, all the handlers in there.
Yeah, it's. I don't
Fine,
like
clean
this
that up.
structure, but yeah, this is just how it's structured. So if you look at the code URI, it might be the
Yeah.
source.
Yeah. So, okay. What do you want to do? Ball's in your court. Where should we go with that? This information. Do you want to try to get the custom resource created?
Skipping copy operations since source. Where is that defined? Is there something?
It's
I didn't
not.
see that. But how is it getting to? This doesn't exist.
Well, it's
Where
looking
is
at the type. It's looking at this.
Okay,
And
I see
Sam is
that.
saying, "Oh no, nah,
That
not
doesn't
doing
exist.
that." So if you look, it's referencing.
But it's that function that doesn't exist.
Yeah. So should we have that happen?
Yeah.
Should we?
Yeah, let's see if
Okay,
it
cool.
iterates that, like actually create the function.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? First, before we do that, I gotta open up this VS Code Pets extension that Aaron Mikhail Staples told me about on a live stream that we did last week on Launch Darkly,
Yeah,
where
I
I
saw
can
that
have
one.
chickens I'll name it one. Let's see. Big Red is my rooster's name. He doesn't look like that though. Let me do one more chicken. Manhattan is probably the family favorite chicken at home. So we'll.
Oh.
Here we go. I'll just
Just
minimize.
watch them for 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. We don't even have to talk the next time this is actually doing anything. We'll just watch. Watch the
See what they do.
chickens and the cat. Yeah. Okay. So let's work on a new task. This one, we want to create the custom resource. I have a custom resource in my template that is supposed to deploy my
Static resources.
static files to my S3 bucket, but it is not correctly implemented. I need to create the custom resource and the backing code for it.
And as we move forward, I understand the pricing or the free tier a little bit more. It does say accelerate tasks with the Amazon Q developer agent. You have limit of 5 tasks, right? This is our third one. And
I
then-
did. Okay, I didn't see
So we
that
have
in- in
5.
here.
Yeah, it does. It's not there. I'm looking at their pricing page.
Can you
And
bring
then
it up?
what yeah.
I'm sorry to keep interrupting you.
No, yeah, I'm used to it. You were my boss, so.
That's why I'm so used to it too.
Okay. Let me do the close up. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. So here it is, right? So 5 per month. And then the other limits we're seeing are kind of per task, right? Those are not specified here, but I'm assuming here each task has 10 planned iterations and has 3 actual code iterations, which is nice. So
Yeah, and to me that prioritizes the iterations correctly. Like it
Yeah.
says 10 times on the plan, but 3 times on the code. And from a standpoint of minimizing the amount of work sent to these different LLMs of varying capabilities, it makes a lot of sense that way. Just doing the plan is going to take a lot less compute power and reasoning
Yep.
than it would for generating code. What's the price? So the 2 levels are free and pro, which is $19 a month. Okay. Is
which
it
gives you a bit
unlimited?
more. So no, it's 30 per month. For $20. That doesn't do my job completely, so it's annoying. Code security, that's something we haven't touched on, but it does security scanning on your code. This is just all included. Simplified query authoring with generative SQL. Look at that, it's preview. And more. But yeah, these tasks, which is probably what I would do more and add tests. Because it'll generate all this and then I'll ask it to add the test.
You can do that in the free tier.
Yeah, it's included. Yeah. But 30 iteration or 30 tasks per month.
I don't know. Like if I was thinking about that in terms of treating a dev story as a task, and I realistically think, am I going to get done 30 dev stories in a month? I mean, I probably was pretty close to that, realistically, all things considered. But when you get down to it, it's like, well, if this is supposed to make my productivity fly and I was already hitting about 30 anyway, maybe in theory I'd need 60 a month if it's supposed to double my productivity.
Yeah, doesn't seem to be like, hey, add more, right? So you're capped at 30 forever at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know if usually that's where you have the call us enterprise if you want more. I don't know if that's something that will come in the future to be able to add more.
Yeah, it's still
Hey, for $5, can I get 50 and more tasks or something like that?
I'd pay that. That seems well worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's It does seem to help. It's just, I think we're in a point with all these tools to find the correct iteration paths for these things. And we saw it, we applied the code, the delete it was good. Maybe this, we had to create something else, right? The custom resource, maybe it's on spot, right?
Yeah.
And then like, let's add a new endpoint for this, right? That would be like repairing it back to stories. Let me just do this story for me, right? Maybe that's a better iteration, but again, now if you're frugal or careful with your task, then you're not going to be able to do this kind of iteration. It's like, oh, I want to have 5 tasks left by the end of the month, just in case.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to run out of them on day 10 of the month, right? It's like, oh, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I can't work without this anymore.
That's the part that scares me, what you just said.
Yeah.
Is I really don't want to get to a point where I can't do work without something like this, because that probably will stifle my creativity. It'll stifle my understanding of what's actually being built, and I'm not going to have that kind of creative thinking or wherewithal of the entire project, honestly, if I'm just going back and forth with this. I'm really just treating it from a higher standpoint. You know, what's it doing? Let me make it do this instead. Go. Use JavaScript.
Yeah, and that's what I like a lot of these things. Like I've been using it for unit tests, right, a lot, and like I use Mocha, Chai, and Sinon for all my tests and stuff. And just how it uses it differently than what I do. It's like, oh, I never thought about this. It's like it's just like looking at somebody else's code, and it's like usually better than mine.
It is looking at somebody else's code.
Yeah.
Look, we saw it. We saw it up here. It had the licenses. So it's saying I didn't find it. It's fine. But it did have, it pointed to the references that it took, and it had the licenses from the references that it took.
Yeah.
So it is literally looking at other people's code, because it's saying,
That's true.
it's like pointing out the repositories.
Nice. So
Okay.
what did it do?
So thank you for that detour. That was actually super helpful. And I wonder if anybody from AWS is watching and knows the answer to this question. Can you please answer it? Do AWS credits work for Q Pro, or is that something that's built separately? While we wait, hopefully somebody is able to answer that for us. Let's look at what it said for the custom resource task that we have it working on.
Yeah.
So it needs to update the template YAML. So it's going to update this guy. Oh no, this. It's going to change that to a function. And it's going to delete this. And then it's actually going to implement.
Import required AWS SDK. Implement helpers.
Yeah, I don't really know if that's parts. It's been a long time since I've created a custom resource, and honestly, I'm not even sure if that's the best practice anymore. Let's ask in a different window.
Yeah, I haven't done many custom resources to tell you if it's right or wrong.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm typing in, you can read that okay. What's the best way to run custom logic after deployment? Yep. I want to add files to an S3 bucket upon a successful creator update. So this is still using Amazon Q. This is the chat functionality, not the dev plan functionality, the agent mode. Let's see what it says. Expand this a little bit. To run custom logic, especially for adding files to an S3 bucket, you have a few options. One of the best is to use a custom resource with Lambda. Okay, so that's nice. It said to do this.
That's exactly what we have.
Yep. This is actually what the plan said to remove. That's funny.
Interesting.
Or create a new custom resource where it's called this, and it's basically the same thing. Okay. At this point, I just kind of want to see what it's going to do. Let's just let it run hog wild. Let's see. Here we go.
I looked at the list of accepted resources that you can use credits on. It says Amazon Q, but I'm assuming this is separate. It's Amazon Q developer.
Okay.
So I'm not sure.
And you can get different codes, like credit codes that apply to very specific resources or services.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to take 7 minutes?
No, I don't think it's going to take 7 minutes. But hope not. They shouldn't just be creating the one function. Do you think it's going to work? I think that's the more important question.
I'm a bit skeptical at this point. I see Jonathan's comment, but I don't get it. This stream should be... Maybe he pressed enter beforehand?
Yeah, I think he's typing out what it should be called.
Will this take 7
The stream should be called Will This Take 7 Minutes?
Yeah.
I think
I hit
this
enter. Yeah.
That's it's one of the things I'm taking away from Q, at least from the dev mode or the agent mode, is it takes a long time. It takes like a markedly more substantial time than these other ones that we've used.
Will it be the equivalent of it's compiling and it's generating the code?
Feels like it's the same thing. Great, we had to be more specific with it.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't have the context that we had. Just putting an object.
I feel like this would work. Just looking at it, it looks old school. But
Nothing
I have
wrong with
a feeling
that.
this, huh? Nothing's wrong
Nothing
with
wrong with it. Yeah.
it. No, nothing's wrong with it. Just, like I said earlier, just because it's not done the way you would do it doesn't mean it's wrong. Yeah, I feel like that's fine. And then if we look at the template, is changing that to a function. But the thing here is that there's no trigger.
Yes, it would still need... Can you do like a right-click keep? Like you would do with Git? I don't know what that is.
I don't know if this is a real diff or what this is.
Nate,
No.
do Control B. See if it puts it side by side. Yeah. Is there a little arrow in the middle? Yeah, no. So you can't. Like to move it from side to side.
I could copy this and paste it over here. I think.
Could you? You can't type on the right.
It's an editable word. Oh no, it's not.
No.
Never mind. Okay, so this isn't right. So we still have 2 more iterations to do here. So how can they be improved? This is just function.
Have a trigger.
It has no trigger. Don't custom resources need to be triggered. So this is my passive aggressive way. It's very passive aggressive. Say it. You do it right.
Do you see that you're wrong? Will it take 7
I don't even
minutes?
think it's not even going to respond to me. It's just going to create the code.
I think our next game show is going to be this. And it's like, will it take 7 minutes? And then we'll start a timer. And whoever said yes wins, or no loses, whatever.
We're just going to watch and see who can fill the time the best.
Yeah, it's going to be super engaging, super fun.
Jonathan, I hope you're taking notes for that. 7 minutes in Gen AI heaven.
Oh man.
Jonathan's on it. That's good.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is taking so long. Andres, what do you say this be the last one that we do, even though we're still 15 minutes left? It's not
Yeah, we'll
as high
go.
value at this point as the initial go.
Because one thing is Sam build, right? That worked, and let's just do a deployment, and that's probably the last piece.
Sure. Okay.
And
Once
we'll give
it
our
generates the code.
Yeah. Just gonna
It
go
didn't
off
give us a
camera.
plan,
I'm gonna
so
go
I'm
off
actually
camera
curious-
and leave you by yourself for a bit. I'm just kidding.
What? Oh. Ugh.
Let's see if I can find more distractions in the documentation.
I don't think we need to. I think it'll be done. I'm actually curious what it's going to do because it didn't come up with the plan first. I think it might be set at what the plan was. I don't know if that's like a guideline or parameters, guardrails. That's the word I'm looking for. I don't know if it's guardrails for what it's generating, or if that's just like was passed in as the system message. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it didn't do anything. It did. Oh, wait. Okay, here we go.
There's
Okay,
no
so
red.
it literally made no change to this.
But now the function, now that we have code, right? Previously
I
we
guess it
did
backed out what it was supposed to do. Yeah.
custom resource, but previously initially we didn't have this file. Now we do. That's all we needed for it to fix it.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, sure. Let's accept. Okay.
Ooh. Let's see if there's a warning. It built it because it exists now.
It did. Yeah. Well, it built
Okay.
a function.
Yeah, it's just, do you want to deploy and see what's set?
Yeah, it says the package JSON's not defined. I mean, that's been missing. That's been a constant of what's been missing basically this entire time. Like, I don't know.
It's
There's a lot of
assuming something. I see that
All
because I do
these-
a package JSON at the root, but this doesn't even have that. So I don't know how it's resolved. I don't. That's probably not gonna.
I don't
work.
know.
But SAM
I don't know.
build usually go up. So the SAM build package it, continue the build without dependencies, right? So and it's doing just copy source.
Yeah,
so it's not
just
really
putting
doing
in-
it's
yeah.
not doing an npm install.
No,
So
that's
I
why
don't
it's going
think
so
the
fast.
actual runtime is gonna work.
No.
But let's see if it deploys. That would be an iteration I would do. Hey, actually, yeah, the package JSON.
Yeah. Yeah.
Claude did do that. And it shouldn't break. It's AWS SDK. Should be there. It's not using.
Yeah.
It's using V3. Yeah, so it should be fine.
Yeah, the only thing that that's imported that's not an AWS resource that's included in Lambda already is this UUID package.
Maybe it's included and we don't know.
See what it does.
Oh yeah, it doesn't have
Okay,
a stamp
so we'll
config.
call this one Amazon Q. East 1. No. Yes.
Yes.
No. Yes, that's okay. Yes, that's okay. Yes, that's okay. Yes. 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 Okay. Hedge your bets.
Chon.
Is it going to deploy?
I think it will.
Yeah.
I think it will.
I mean, there is definitely a distinct difference between will it deploy and will it work.
Woo! Okay, first step. It's a lot of resources.
It is. This is kind of like the conversation that we were having in the Believe in Serverless Discord the other day, where somebody ran into an issue where they ran into too many CloudFormation resources in a template.
It's creating the bucket the old way.
So this is where you can use Amazon Q.
Just a regular one.
How do I fix that error?
Will it know from the terminal and all that?
Looks like no. I thought it would.
Where is that? SC. Think like a programmer. Yeah, it's just giving you how to fix errors.
Okay, so here's how I think we actually need to do it. So it definitely has context of the window that's open. So I can say I got this error. I got this error on deploy. And then we can paste that in. And then we will see what it says. Ah, I see. It's because you're trying to set an ACL on an S3 bucket that has that setting to enforced.
Access control, public read.
It's telling us what we have. Yep.
You don't have that. Do we have that on the resource?
Yeah.
Where's the bucket?
Right there.
Okay.
So it just says it needs to be modified. If you want to explicitly, okay, it's actually giving us a couple options. That's pretty nice. And then it's giving us a link to the documentation, which is super important because we're dealing with ACLs in S3, which is like one of the number one security issues that you see at least reported.
Yeah, so you got that ownership. Yeah.
Let's do this one. This one seems like
Could work. Tabs are wrong. 86, yeah.
everybody loves YAML. Okay.
Did it try to create?
What?
I think it will work. Do we have to delete the stack?
Yeah. Oh, no, that's right.
Will it take the stack name from the? Oh, look at that. I've never done a delete from the command line.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I run into initial failed deployments all the time. I know exactly what to do in these situations. What do you
Well,
usually
this
do?
is. I go into console.
Oh, gosh.
Ugh, I know. Yucky. While we're waiting for this, I'll give you some context, David. We're almost wrapping up, but if you've seen any of our sessions or live streams, we're trying to build basically a simple, well, maybe not that simple, but a CRUDL API that has some WebSockets and the UI and all that, but using AI, right? So last week we did Claude artifacts, then a few weeks ago we did App Studio. Now we're trying Amazon Q. So we got a bunch of stuff generated. Alan, if you go to the File Explorer, you can show there are a bunch of files. All of these were generated by Amazon Q. It's got the template, it's got the endpoints, the handlers, and we're testing to see if it deploys with what it generated. Apparently not. So yeah, this is unfortunate. So it's still
I think this is more of an account level thing. It looks like my deployment user that I use for my sandbox is not allowed to lift that public policy.
Come on, Alan. Don't you do * for your user?
I mean, you should be proud of me that that's an error that I'm getting right now.
I am very, very proud, Alan. Very inconvenient, but proud.
It is inconvenient, yes, when we are streaming live. I agree with you there. Yes. Okay. I'm going to take away the screen.
I've never seen that chicken
It's never
plugin.
seen.
That's
Yes.
that's how
Go
you.
ahead.
That's the takeaway, right? It's there's a cool plugin. It was last Friday that you hosted a stream
Yeah, Thursday.
where they had that. So it's one of the greater discoveries within this last week.
Yes, I agree. I actually really enjoyed that live stream. I was doing that with one of the developer advocates from Launch Darkly. We were building an app using Launch Darkly, and I made a comment. She didn't even have the animals on the screen. It just said VS Code pets. And I was like, oh, I like animals. What is that? And then she clicked it, and it had like a cat and a chicken and a dog. And I was like, oh, well, I gotta install this right now.
Okay.
It's
Wait
not, yes.
while you're building an application or something while it's compiling.
It reminds me of home while I'm not at home, which is nice.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
you just throw 30 chickens in there.
Yeah, you will not have space to code.
No, yeah, just crawl all over the screen. Okay, so Andres, last few minutes. What do you think? Amazon Q. Just do it. Just that. Just Q. Don't compare it to anything.
It leaves a bit to desire as far as the iterations we went to. We weren't able to deploy. Everything seems to, and again, everything seems to hallucinate with WebSockets, which is unfortunate. Maybe people haven't built them that much, or maybe we're failing miserably at building them all across. Maybe we need more standards around it, or use a pre-built thing that already does the heavy lifting for you. I want to play around with it. I always say this.
Every time. Which is really not a good sign to me, because that means we weren't able to get through fast enough what you wanted to get done.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't get it deployed, right? That's the first thing. I want to end one of these with, okay, we deployed it, and maybe we hit an endpoint. We haven't gotten to that. And any of the three we evaluated with AI. We get stuck, iterations fail, hallucinations. So across the board, there's still work to be done to get to a good point of building applications with AI. Iterating, code completion, all that's magical, right? And that's where we're at. This is kind of the newer piece. And I'm very interested to see how it evolves. Maybe everybody's looking at our live stream right now, gathering feedback, and we'll see all the changes applied next week.
I hope so. That'd be really nice.
What are your thoughts?
So this is the only one that we've used so far that is integrated with
the big plus for that
editor. Yes, big plus for that. As far as everything else that it did, this is probably the worst one that we've used. Now that said, that's really, I'm scoping that to the agent part of it, the one that comes up with the dev plan and the one that actually executes said dev plan. Here are the things that I like. Let's do the compliment sandwich on Amazon Q. I like the fact that it allows you to iterate the plan separately from the code, from the execution. I really like that. I like that it lets you handle tasks separately as well. We did a task, we did something. I in my head, that's a dev story. A task is a dev story. I pull it off of our backlog and I start working on it. And there I have scope of the entire thing that I'm working on. And then that's done. I can swivel, pick up the next thing off of my backlog, and there we go, new context window. Let's rock. I like that. I like that a lot. I don't like how slow it is. That was really, really slow. Will it take 7 minutes? I think it's now going to be a joke that we're going to start saying on this stream. Because for anyone that's joining us now that didn't see it, the very first, I think it was like the three first times that we used it to actually build a bunch of files, it took 7 minutes to come up with those files and render them, even iterations. And then one of those iterations just like completely destroyed a file.
And it's the one that took the longest.
Yes, and so that's another one of the things that I didn't like, is I think that's a bug inside of Q, where we were iterating on the files inside of a task and we lost the version history. Now it showed like what the files were in said version history, but it didn't retain the content from them. So I would click on it and it was what the latest was. The iteration capability of the code wasn't really that good either. I feel like it didn't iterate the code. Like realistically, I don't feel like
like the
you
custom
get more than one thing.
resource, it did something. It removed something critical, then it re-added it, but it just didn't work, right?
Yep. But again, since I said complement sandwich, right now it's complement open-faced sandwich to kind of close the other piece of bread
Cheese.
on there. I think it goes a long way. I already said this, but that it is inside of Visual Studio Code, and the fact that it has different modes. Q in general is a big deal because it was able to answer questions like, what's the best way to put a file into S3 when your deployment's done? And it said, custom resource, which is great because that's what we were working on in the task itself. So, if it said, no, don't do that, use the event bridge event fired by CloudFormation to trigger a Lambda function to do that. If it said to do that instead, then we would have changed how we were approaching the task.
And I think that's a pretty big thing, right? The VS Code and just having the context within the existing files already. You don't have to jump through hoops to, copy this whole file and then paste it into a separate chat in the browser. It has it there, right? So you can tell it, hey, within this file, I want to change this, this, and this. Boom. And it's going to know. It has that whole context, which is a big, big plus from what we've seen on the other ones.
Yep. Okay,
cool.
So will I start using that for all of my development? No, I will not. But it does have its uses. I think for now, honestly, I'm getting the highest value out of Claude and the artifacts over there. It's faster, it seems a little bit higher quality. The fact that it's using Sonnet 3.5, it goes a long way. that's the big one right now.
And the limits there are daily, not monthly. Yeah. So that's a big one.
Yep. So I do want to figure out if some of the credits that I have inside of AWS can be used for Q Pro, because if it is, then I might start using it more. But knowing that I'm limited to 5 tasks for a month, I mean, I have enough to get my feet wet, and then I have to wait another 25 days to try it again. I'm not gonna pay $20 for that.
And by the time you use the 5 tasks and then it's next month, you'll forget about it.
Yeah, completely. I have to relearn all over again.
Yep. Cool.
Okay. Lots of good one. Andres, I don't know. Oh, what did we say? We found what we were going to work on next week. I think it was mentioned in the Discord today. It was...
Ro brought it up. It's
like a wrapper around something called Dapper.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to find it.
Let's see. That was...
It was
I don't even remember what channel.
No.
Oh, here it was. It's called Diagrid. Diagrid. So that's what we're going to be working with next week. I think it's a backend as a service company around APIs. You and I know a thing or two about APIs.
Just a little bit.
We're just a little opinionated on that one. So excited for that. We'll build something else that's not the GPS app with that.
Yep.
We'll figure out something fun for that, I'm sure. But that's what we'll be trying out, giving the old college try in an hour and a half or less, see if we can get something working, actually for real this time.
Yeah, I like it. APIs, I love them.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I know if you're joining us from Europe, it's very late, so thank you for joining us on your Friday night. If you're joining us from Hawaii, have a happy lunch. If you're joining us from the United States, have a good rest of your afternoon, and we will see you next week.
See you, everybody.
All right. Bye, everybody.